What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Hopefully you had a good weekend. I played some Cuphead. We had the usual Spawncast crew kind of talk about different things that were going on in the past week. And then, of course, we have a bunch of news that's come up over the weekend, starting from Friday to now. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about today is FIFA and the Switch. And while a lot of people like what's happening with it, because it's a portable FIFA experience that you obviously take with you, it's a full-fledged FIFA game, something we've never really had ever. In fact, EA made a point to make sure it was kind of drilled into our brain. This is the first full-fledged FIFA game that we can take with us whenever we leave the house, and that's great. But there's one big key feature that's missing from it. It has people pointing fingers all over the place as to whose fault this is, and that is, of course, that you can't invite and play against any friends on your friends list on the Nintendo Switch, and that's very weird. Especially in a game like FIFA. FIFA's a game where you and a bunch of friends can play and have a good time for the most part, either be on the same teams, or of course you can play against each other, tournaments, the whole thing. And it's a little odd that you can't play against your friends because you can play against, say, random people. You have like random matchmaking that'll find people and you play against them. But people on your friends list you can't invite into like a lobby and then play against. There are games on the Nintendo Switch that have lobby systems, as people have pointed out. However, I have noticed those lobby systems only exist in that game, and they seem to be different in each game. For example, Mario Kart has a different lobby system than, say, ARMS. They both have lobby systems where you can invite people in and play against, but they're different from each other. They're not system level, and I think that's the problem right now. That's something we see that's kind of an issue with the Switch across multiple games. For example, a lot of people, for some reason, are just now pointing out the fact that NBA, it's the same thing. 2K18, you can't play against friends by just inviting them in to play them. You have to basically just play against random people. And it seems like this is an issue, I personally think, right now with Nintendo, and it's not really an issue so much as what we're waiting for this online service, because I have a feeling, based on what we're seeing from both EA and 2K, there may be something there for third parties to use, and what I'm hoping there is some kind of system-level lobby system. System-level friends list lets you invite into any game, really. Because otherwise, this just means that EA and 2K just pretty much forwent the entire idea. They just decided, friends and game playing against each other, not a big deal, when it kind of is. I mean, those are all competitive games, and a lot of times people like to go home and just play against their friends. So here we are with two games, NBA and of course FIFA, and who knows, maybe WWE is the same way. You can't play against your friends, and it seems like it's an issue with obviously the infrastructure with Nintendo Switch and the online services, and it might be that we have to wait until, say, next year when these online services from Nintendo that we're going to be paying for come out, because otherwise that means that EA and 2K, and even obviously 2K with WWE, but basketball and soccer, they would have been expected to build their own entire lobby system internal to that game, just for one system, and it's a little weird. That might be the issue. That might be why they opted just to not even do it, or maybe it was something that they were going to be working out, but it fell so far down in their list of things to do. I mean, think about it with FIFA. They built an entire engine, apparently, custom engine, to work with the Switch. That lobby system might be all the way at the bottom of the list, and maybe it's something you get post-release. We've seen companies not at all afraid to do that, as we've seen before with different patches, and even parts of the game that were kind of left out until after, and that's with any system. It's not even just with the Switch. But it's weird. It's something that should have been included, and I hope that, let's say, when Nintendo releases and talks about their online service, that system-level lobby systems, system-level invites, friends list, even voice chat should be there. I know they have their cell phone app they're working on, but I'd rather have it right on the system, make everything inclusive just to the system. We'll see. We'll see what happens, because the system we're going to be expected to pay for this service, and hopefully they give us more than a weekend to try it out, because we saw what happened with their phone app, came out, wasn't very good, but they kind of fixed it after people really reported feedback, and they fixed some of the issues. Obviously not the big issue being that we have to use a cell phone, but they fixed things like, oh, you can't have the screen off, you can't do things on your phone. Otherwise, all that's been fixed for the most part. But we're going to see, because if they're going to expect us to pay for it, dedicated servers, there should be cloud storage, obviously. We all need that. And there should be some kind of system-level lobby system and friends code, or not even friends code, I'm sorry, friends list that you can just invite people in without any issues. I'm curious on your thoughts here, though. Do you think it's EA, or do you think it's 2K's fault? Do you think it's Nintendo's fault? Do you think it's just the Switch is so young right now that it doesn't even have its online services ready to go for these bigger games? Let me know, especially if you did buy it and you were expecting to be able to do it, and then you find out I can't play with my friends easily. That's not very fun. People were complaining on Twitter. People were getting refunds. It was a whole thing. Let me know what you guys think, though. And from there, let's jump over to the Super Nintendo Classic. It launched on Friday. There was a mad rush for them, but there was something a lot of people weren't expecting. It wasn't as hard to get as we were all thinking. In fact, a lot of people I've seen online managed to get one at retail locations from either getting tickets and waiting in line, or in my case, just walking into the store. Yeah, that's right. I walked into Target and they had received over 100 of these systems. So I walked in, they still had about 40 left, even though they had been open for about half an hour to 40 minutes. I walked up, I picked one up out of the cart that they had out there for people to kind of grab them from. I was out in 5 minutes. I purchased at a retail price and I was out. So I think a lot of people are finding that these stores got more than they were expecting. Like I said, the Target I went to got over 100. The Walmart near me got like 22. And then I see other people reporting that Best Buy's had over 100. One, apparently, that I saw online had over 200. And it seems like Nintendo shipped these things a pretty good amount. It wasn't like the NES Classic, right? You show up to Walmart and they got 8. No, nothing like that from what we're seeing. And I'm very happy because I think scalpers for this may have overestimated, may have overplayed their hand here, because looks like they're not going to be getting the amount of money they were hoping for. I see them on Craigslist, and they have slowly been dwindling down. They started at 300, like when it came out on that Friday morning when I was leaving. I was like, let me see how many people are on Craigslist. Bunch of people on Craigslist for $300. Now it's going down to 200, and then just recently, today, before I started filming, $150 and willing to negotiate. What's that tell you? It tells you a lot of people aren't sending the messages because we're finding them. And this is great. And we're even getting reports from different people who work at Best Buys and Targets and Walmarts and everything that they're expecting more to come in a few weeks. So it sounds like Nintendo at least stuck to their word to provide more than NES Classic. It seems like you shouldn't buy from scalpers. There's no point. It's going to be easy to get, hopefully, going forward. And more than likely, if you want one, you will be able to get one at some point if you have not already. Also, one other follow-up real quick. We talked about how it was hacked and Star Fox 2 was ripped off of the system. Looks like people who usually build those repro carts, I've talked to you guys about them before, they've already built Star Fox 2 from that ROM image, and it works on real hardware, which is cool, but they are also selling it for like $60 to $65. Don't buy it. Just wait until you can get a Super Nintendo Classic. I know it's very appealing for people to buy the cartridge and have it to play on their real hardware. But, I mean, really, it's people who are ripping this image and then they are just burning it and then building it into a cart and selling it for way more than they probably should there. I will say that. $65 is kind of high for that game, especially now with certain adapters and stuff that go into it. It's pretty easy to make. And also, you're not giving it to the people who licensed and essentially created the game with Nintendo. You're giving it to some person who just built the cartridge. Either way, the really cool thing here is, yes, that image, the Star Fox 2 completed image, works on real hardware, and it's just a cool little thing to know. I also want to pass something along to you guys, just in case you were really interested in the Mario Odyssey demos that you see at E3 and everything. Looks like you may be able to play it sooner than you think. In fact, you might be able to go play it right now. I know it sounds crazy, but Best Buys really around the United States, from what I'm hearing, have been receiving demo units of Mario Odyssey, which means that, hey, if you're near one, call them, or even just go by. Maybe don't call them. They never seem to pick up anyway, right? You get the automated message and then you wait forever. Anyway, go by there and just see if they have one, because you might get lucky. You might walk into a Best Buy and look, there's a big Mario Odyssey demo that you can just walk in and play. And I really want to play it, so I'm going to go by and see if my local Best Buy has it, because if so, I'll probably spend a little bit of time in Best Buy, longer than I usually would anyway, playing this demo. Apparently it is the desert level that is going to be playable, and of course it's set up kind of like the E3 demo where they guide you kind of to go through the different quests and everything, but just be able to get a feel for it, because it's 60 frames per second, it's from what everyone's told me, handles great. I just want to get a feeling, even if I get like 5 or 10 minutes with it, just to see how it controls. That's all I really want to see, and then of course I'll spend a lot of time with it when it's out less than a month from now. It feels like we've been waiting for this game forever. I'm just ready to play it. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a studio that I've really grown to like over the past, decade or so. Ever since Arkham Asylum came out, you guys know what I'm talking about. Rocksteady is, well, they haven't been around in the news much, right? Ever since they finished Arkham Knight, got that patched and done, and they were out of there. well, we didn't really hear much about them, really any new projects, any teasing, nothing, because a lot of us, for the most part, liked that trilogy. The Arkham trilogy was awesome. I loved Arkham Asylum, City was good, I liked Knight. So overall, minus the PC issues, really, overall it was a good series, and I've really been looking forward to what their next bit of work will include, but they've been pretty much radio silent, at least until now. And this is from Gaz Deves over on Twitter. This is their marketing manager who decided to put out a tweet kind of getting us ready for something coming up, saying, "Be patient, fans. I know we're not talking right now, but when we do, people are going to lose their minds. Can't wait." So now what? Now what are we looking at here? Well, it could be a couple things. I think the obvious one that I've heard a lot of people talk about is Superman. We did Batman, obviously, with the Arkham series. Maybe they kind of move over to Metropolis, as we have seen some calls to Metropolis during the Arkham series in little Easter egg things. Maybe they move over there and they actually build a good Superman game. I know whenever you say Superman game, everyone automatically thinks of the Nintendo 64 Superman game. I don't even think it's called Superman 64. We just call it Superman 64 because that's how it's known. But everyone always thinks about that. They're like, oh, that terrible Superman game where you fly through rings. I would love to see Rocksteady just break onto the scene and say, look, here's a good Superman game that you could actually talk about that is not terrible like that old one. Even there were some on like the 64, or I'm sorry, the 360 and even the original Xbox that really weren't that good either. So I know it's hard to work with a character like Superman because he's overpowered as it is, but I feel like if anyone could do it, Rocksteady could at least try to make a crazy superhero like Superman, maybe a little more realistic, gritty even. I'm not talking about maybe like Man of Steel even. I'm not saying get crazy realistic or anything, but at least give it good mechanics and try to get an interesting story to go with it. And yeah, we could have a really neat Superman game, and I would like to see them stick in the DC universe because then they could do callbacks to Arkham. Maybe they even go the way of the Flash. Maybe they kind of go past Superman and work with the Flash. There's a lot of cool opportunities here. I just want them to stick in their DC universe so that they can try to link the worlds together through Easter eggs and little things like that. And that's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Let me know what you think about any of this stuff we talked about, specifically this Rocksteady tease. What would you like to see them tackle? A new IP, or would you like to see them maybe go after another superhero and kind of rework their video game image? I know Superman could obviously use it, but maybe they move on, like I said, something The Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. I would like to see them stick in the DC universe, but maybe you have different ideas for them as well. Let me know what you think they might be working on or what you'd like to see them worked on down in the comments. Also, let me know what you think about the FIFA, 2K, Nintendo, Friends, online play. Is it something that bothered you when you bought FIFA or even NBA and you noticed it but realized no one ever really talked about it until now? Is that something that they need to get ironed out with this online service? I feel yes, and I'm hoping that the reason it's not working out right now with either of those is because Nintendo has this online service figured out, but it's not coming till early next year, at which time everyone's going to kind of jump on that bandwagon where they have, system level lobby system, I guess invites, but not voice chat. Who knows about that? But I'm curious what your thoughts are on there, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.